Hi folks, Steve from Lens to Print here, sporting a very natty Lens to Print t-shirt, courtesy of Auntie Mary. We're going to look at dust bunnies this week, how to spot them, how to get rid of them, and I'm going to show you two techniques. The image we have on screen now comes from Mary, and it's deliberately sent to us warts and all, as the saying might go, and we're just going to have a look at dust bunnies. Depending on the resolution of your screen and what kind of screen you are using, you may or indeed may not be able to see that this image does have a couple of bunnies, and I have highlighted that one over there and that one over there. There are actually at least 9 on here, and we are very, very proud at Lens to Print of our quality. So dust bunnies, off-level horizons, you know the things, are something that we spot, and quite often we spot on images that we've submitted ourselves, which is why none of the moderating team can actually approve any of their own work. We do indeed get our own declines. Yes, it is frustrating, we share your feelings, but we'd best find out now rather than when the customer's got a 30 by 40 inch canvas print hanging on the wall. So let's have a look at a couple of ways on dealing with the bunnies. First of all, I'm going to close these down and get them out of the way. They've served their purpose for us. We can work several ways around this. I'm going to now work on the JPEG image, which is what I was sent, and here's the trick. We're going to start by duplicating the layer. That is Control J if you're on a PC, Command J I believe on a Mac, and that will create for us a duplicate layer. If we now go up and go Image, Adjustments, Brightness, Contrast, and we increase the contrast to a ridiculous level, and this doesn't really matter, it's not going to affect the final image, dust bunnies start to become a whole lot more noticeable. In fact, I dare say already these are really quite noticeable. And you can, if you wish to get the best effect, mess with the brightness as well. Obviously, if you go too bright, they just disappear entirely, and if you go too dark, well, they disappear entirely. So it's a question of finding one. What I suggest you do is find an obvious dust bunny, and we'll work on this one here. Make that one as obvious as you can by tweaking the sliders, and that will also start showing up the lesser obvious ones. So that's a highly scientific technique, but it does work. So we'll just adjust it till we can see sort of more bunnies than we'd like. So if we do OK on that. So now we can see the bunnies, they're a little bit more obvious than the ones they were, and we're now going to fix them. Now what I've done, of course, is duplicated a layer. So my top layer has got the adjustments to it. If I turn that off, there's my original layer. And it's much easier to see the bunnies on the adjusted layer, in my opinion. However, we need to correct the original layer. So we're going to leave the top layer visible, but select, with a left click, the bottom layer. Now this is a little bit weird because things we do now we won't be able to see because the top layer isn't the one we're working on. However, we'll go over to our healing brush tool, the sticky plaster effort, and we'll left click on that, and with that weird combination of top layer visible but bottom layer active, we go and find our spot. The brush size needs to be a little bit bigger than the spot itself, but obviously not huge or it'll all get terribly complicated. So you'll find that a right square bracket will make your brush bigger, and a left square bracket, that's just to the right of letter P on most keyboards, will make the brush smaller. Alternatively, you can go up and select the sizes from up here. I'm a keyboard shortcut person. So we now go in, we center our healing brush on top of the spot and left click, and absolutely nothing happens. Well, yes it does. Lots have happened, except it's happened on the bottom layer, which we currently can't see. So whilst we're here, we'll go and do the same to this one over here, and we'll left click, and oh, there's one up here as well. Look at that, we'll have that one as well. And nothing's happened. But now if we turn our top layer off, voila, no spots. Nice and easy. So we're done with our top layer. We can actually delete that now and get it out of the way. Done. Now if you've got lots of spots, it might well be worth your while to do this, do 3 or 4, because you will lose count, and then repeat the process until you're perfectly happy. So that's one way of dealing with this. Now there's another way of dealing with this via Camera Raw. And I did say this image had been sent to me as a JPEG, which normally of course you can't use with RAW. You double click on this, and my particular computer, and I guess yours too, is set up so that the default program for opening JPEGs is Photoshop. However, if you right click, you can go open in camera RAW. You don't get the full range of menus that you would normally. However, you do get rather a lot of them, and the important ones you get up here, which is the healing brush and the visualize spots. So the spot removal tool with the sticky plaster effort, called healing brush in Photoshop, if you click on that, we have two boxes down here we can play with. We have visualize spots and overlay, and I'll show overlay in just a second. We have options up here for healing things or cloning things. Healing is the best option generally. That's Photoshop will have a go at sorting that out for you. Cloning is where you need to start specifying a source, and it's not really any more difficult, but the plain fact is Photoshop's really good at it, so let it get on with it. We have now the same idea as we had before. We have a circle, and what we do with this is we place our circle on top and just left click, and we now get two circles. The red one is the area that Photoshop has tried to repair, and the sort of green coloured one over here is the area that Photoshop has used as its baseline, if you like, its clone source for dealing with that problem. If we turn the overlay off, you can see what's going on. So the overlay just tells you, right, what's Photoshop been doing for me. So we can go and choose this one up here, and we'll just left click, and Photoshop has chosen to take something over here. And we'll have this one over here, and you get the idea. If you think there's a better choice of source than the one Photoshop has taken, you merely move on to the green circle, and you can left click and drag and say, actually I would rather you took your source from over there, and that will do that for you. We'll go through, I'll make a slightly smaller brush, we don't want it too large, and we'll have a go at that one as well. And it does really quite a good job. At the end of all of that, and I know I've missed several out, it's just for purposes of demonstration, if we do open now, that will now open the image for us, and it will say you've already got one of these open, do you want to change it? And say no, just update it please, just overwrite it, just sort it out for me. And it will take care of things like that. And if there's anything left over, then of course you can choose the options in here. We can use the healing brush tool here, and we can just go, okay, sort that out for me, and there you are, gone. So how to spot them, how to deal with them, many different ways. It's Photoshop. There's 100 ways to do everything. As ever, it's your image, you enjoy it, it's a good image. If people want to spend money on it, that's a great image. Stay safe. We'll see you in 2021. Thank you for your support over the last couple of years that Lens to Print has been growing, and we'll see you on the other side. Thank you.